Hey folks, Badfish here. Today I'd like to talk to you about a game and a franchise that's very special to me. If you were to ask me the first 3 games I played that had a lasting impact on me, it would be Morrowind, Halo, and Grand Theft Auto 3. I was the youngest of 3 boys, so naturally my parents just made my older brothers watch me most of the day. Oftentimes we would end up in front of the PlayStation 2 taking turns on various games. Things like Mortal Kombat, Need for Speed, Medal of Honor.
Word to the wise. Remember Pearl Harbor.
Then one day, our dad brought us home GTA 3. I was no older than 4 or so myself. We spent hours mastering the flight of the dodo, searching for stingers, banshees, and those pesky hidden packages. After San Andreas, the wait for a new GTA game was agonizing. Sure, we got a few spin-offs, but it wasn't exactly what we wanted. It's funny looking back, cause now we wait 15 years for a sequel. Back then, 4 years was an outrage. This is also around the time YouTube started to pick up traction. Fake GTA news and trailers ran rampant constantly. The one I remember most is a Coca-Cola ad. That's it. It was literally a fucking Coca-Cola ad that was uploaded as GTA 4 trailer. Most of the other ones admittedly were rickrolls. Finally though, in 2008, Rockstar blessed this world with the release of GTA 4. To start, I'll be doing a quick rundown of the setting. You are Niko Bellic, a Yugoslavian immigrant who has just arrived in Liberty City. Niko has a troubled past and fought in the Yugoslavian wars. During the wars, he committed and witnessed all sorts of atrocities.
Life is complicated. I never thought I'd live like this.
No?
When the war came, I did bad things. And after the war, I thought nothing of doing bad things. I killed people, smuggled people, sold people.
And you don't worry about your soul?
After you walk into a village and you see 50 children, all sitting neatly in a row against the church wall, each with their throats cut and their hands chopped off, you realize that the creature that could do this doesn't have a soul.
God is very complicated. You mustn't give up hope.
Well, I don't know about that.
You've moved to Liberty City for 2 things. 1, to pursue the American dream with your cousin. 2, to find the man who betrayed your squad during the war. You slowly get tangled in the web of crime organizations, making friends of some and enemies of, well, the rest of them. The main antagonists of the game are 2 Russians, Dmitry Raskov and Mr. Bulgarian. We'll talk about Dmitry later, but to give context to Mr. Bulgarian, Niko used to work for him as a smuggler. Eventually, a job went bad and the ship Niko was aboard sank. He had to flee to Italy because Bulgarian thought he stole from him and scuttled the ship. With that out of the way, we'll move on to Liberty City. Liberty City is the GTA equivalent of New York City. The difference between this iteration of Liberty City and past iterations is that GTA 4 marks the start of the HD era. That means that pretty much all of the old games are null and void in terms of canon. It's hard to believe this game came out in 2008 sometimes, because the visual of Liberty City skyline are crazy from a game from that era. The city is full of things like different bars and restaurants, clubs, various clothing stores, gun shops, paint sprays. Also, there are helicopter tours, subway stations, and taxis, all to help you get around. Next, I really want to talk about the game's tone and atmosphere. There is this gray filter put over absolutely everything in this game that makes it all seem dull and dirty. The palette used here is very intentional, and I assume it was picked due to the dark nature of the story, which we'll get into later. The score and soundtrack also pull some of the weight with the atmosphere. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it all sounds so well together. The guns, the cars, the sound of the city, it's all really fantastic. Don't even get me started on the main theme. Just listen. Did you not just nut? I never really cared for the in-game radio, though I will admit that a lot of people are big fans of it. I guess I was always more of a KDST man myself.
If the police can't stop you, you must be on the dust.
I also want to mention that a while back, Rockstar stripped some of the songs from the game because they didn't want to renew the licenses, which is exceptionally shitty.
Disgusting.
The gameplay is a very large mixed bag. The intro is slow, but sets the stage well. All elements of the game, particularly new features and changes, are presented. The issue I have is how long it's all stepped out for. I mean, the number of first 30 missions that are just go here and kill this one person and leave is ridiculous. I was 7 hours into the game before it wanted to give me a tutorial on how to use the sniper. It just takes me out of it when I've been playing for hours and I get a tutorial on aiming. Come on, guys. One of the new mechanics introduced in this entry is the cover system. It's on par with the other cover systems from games in 2008, meaning that it works perfectly fine except for the 20% of the time it doesn't. That's usually when an enemy gets up way too close. It's going to end really badly because when you try to aim, the camera just stops moving. While the cracks in the AI are showing, it's not enough to ruin the game. You can still have a blast just running around wreaking havoc, and honestly, it's probably more fun than GTA 5 at times. Now, you might not have anywhere near as large of an arsenal, but what you do have is the environment. Liberty City is a dirty, depressing cesspool. Everything there wants to kill you. You see that cab? He wants to kill you. You see that ledge? It wants to kill you. See that rocket launcher? It definitely wants to kill you. Where it really comes into play, though, is with police chases. In 4, it's extremely easy to get boxed into a street, with all the cop cars flying towards you at terminal velocity. Also, with how vertical the map is, with a little ingenuity, you can seriously up your shenanigans. Use a vehicle to give you that extra boost to reach the fire escape. Run and jump from building to building. Climb alongside ledges to spin yourself into a depression because there is still no new splitter cell. This game introduced the smartphone to us. We've always had a phone, for the most part, or at least a pager, but now we can actually use it for a number of things. Calling contacts, taking pictures, and I guess, well, that's kinda it. You can change your background and ringtone, though. How very 2008. Also cheats, but I won't even consider touching them until I beat the game. It was all very cool back in the day, but now it's a little more than a small novelty that's annoying. I say that because you get spam called by your friends and it's super obnoxious being yanked out of the moment just for Roman to ask to go bowling.
Nico, it's Roman. Want to go bowling?
Shut the fuck up, Baba.
The mission design is where I think the game struggles the most. Some of the missions are really good, whereas other missions have you driving across the map for some extremely dumb shit. At one point, after kidnapping someone, you then get another mission to go take a picture of them with your phone, and then you leave, and that's it. The whole fucking mission. Another big issue I have is when there's a chase mission and the fuckers at Rockstar decide to boost the enemy's health or make them unkillable. Why even make me waste my bullets? Just make the objective to chase them until they're in an area where you want the player to kill them. Next, we have the biggest issue. No fucking checkpoints. With how easy it is to die in this game, what the hell were they thinking? There is no way this made it past QA. I'm not asking for a full-blown Call of Duty checkpoint system. All I'm asking for is maybe when I have to drive across the map, start the mission, drive to the objective, drive back across the map again, just to go through some slaughterhouse before finally getting into a chase sequence before dying or losing him, and then I have to drive all the way back again. Could we please get a checkpoint for situations like that? Because that doesn't instill the idea of having fun in my brain. Rockstar obviously realized this quickly though, because both expansions have checkpoints that are pretty much perfect. You still have to slog through some of the shit, but like, for the most part, it skips the unnecessary driving portions and cutscenes. At least then you get to start right at the beginning of the action. Speaking of the expansions, I just wanted to say that it really sucks that Nico never got access to the DLC guns. Particularly the shotguns and auto pistols would have made a really nice addition to his arsenal. Next, let's talk about gravity in Grand Theft Auto 4. Vehicles feel dramatically heavier, as do the ragdoll mechanics. The physics system in general feels like it got the most engine work. I know a lot of people hate it, but I fucking love it. Watching bodies go limp after timing a perfect headshot is super satisfying. This entry also introduced flying through car windows if the impact of the vehicle had enough force. While we're on vehicles, we'll quickly cover those. It's a standard roster of GTA cars with classics returning. The aircraft is where it differs though. While helicopters can be obtained, airplanes are not functional. No tanks, at least in the base game. I will say though, the lack of a custom shop made me really sad. The world has lots of side activities, although none of them are particularly fun. It's worth mentioning that at the time this was absolutely wild, and just having the chance to go bowling or drink with Little Jacob or Roman or any of the guys just made this game shine. I guess I will backtrack my statement slightly. The racing is fun, and there are a few cool little interactions that pop up around the map occasionally. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first instance of what would later to go on to be called Strangers and Freaks in GTA 5 and just the Strangers in Red Dead 2. The rest of the side activities are really only fun the first time you play them, save for the police missions, and I'll get to those in a second. For the actual side missions, we have some taxi missions, pot delivery, and you can access the police database, like I said. That gives you access to the most wanted bounties and vigilante jobs, which are all pretty cool. So I'm going to do my best to summarize the story, but that might be difficult due to the sheer amount of information I need to relay to explain my analysis. The story is dark and gritty, probably the darkest that Rockstar has delivered since Manhunt. Nico moves to Liberty City to escape his former employer, pursue the American dream with his cousin, and seek revenge on the man who betrayed him and his squad during the war. Over the first few weeks, Nico handles loan shark issues for Roman, begins dating a woman named Michelle, and kills the Russian capo Vladimir, a member of the Faustin crime family that's been harassing Roman. Afterwards, Nico and Roman get kidnapped by the same Russian mafia for killing Vlad. Roman gets shot, and Nico begins working for Mikhail Faustin in exchange for his and Roman's life. To appease Faustin, Nico kills a prominent mob boss's son. This infuriates the bosses of the other Russian mafia families. To make amends for killing the boss's son, Nico is told by Faustin's right-hand man, Dmitry Raskov, that he needs to kill Faustin for the higher-ups in the mob, or he and Roman will be killed too. After killing Faustin, Nico is then sold out to his former employer, Bulgarian, by Dmitry. After escaping, the mob burns down all of Roman's assets, and you and Roman escape to Bohan to lay low. Here, Nico becomes acquainted with the McCrearys, who were essentially the last of the Irish mob, and he also continues to grow his contacts to pursue the man who betrayed him back in his home country. Shortly, three things happen. Nico's girlfriend ends up being a rat for the CIA. Nico gets blackmailed into working for the CIA, and then Nico begins dating the McCreary's sister, Katie. This really isn't doing it justice, but over the course of the next 20 missions or so, two major things happen. Nico gets involved with the Pecorino family capo, Ray Bacino. This leads him to be doing some legwork with the stolen diamonds. The diamonds are a huge deal because they have been stolen time and time again from a slew of different criminal crime bosses, including Ray Bulgarian, the man hunting Nico. In exchange for helping sell the diamonds, Buccino leads Nico to the man he thinks betrayed his squad, Florian Krevich. It turns out Florian isn't the traitor, and the reason Nico thought he was hiding something was, well, because he is. Florian actually goes by Bernie now, and is gay.
Oh, go away! Screw you, Nico Bellic and fatty Roman!
Nico comes to the conclusion it was the other survivor, Darko Brevich, who betrayed him and his squad. Nico continues his work for the Pecorino family and starts working for the Gambettis for the CIA. Eventually, in exchange for working for the Gambettis, they deliver Darko to Nico. Now at this point, the player gets a choice. Kill Darko or spare him. If Nico kills him, it leaves Nico feeling empty and unsatisfied. If you spare him, Nico is unsure if he did the right thing.
Everything you believe is shown to be shit. We exchange choices.
Fuck you! Strange choices! How much?
1,000.
You killed my friends for $1,000.
How much do you charge to kill someone?
You ruined me, you fuck!
The scene where Nico kills Darko is very tense and emotional, which is why I personally choose to think it's the canon ending for Nico, as it allows for the most development. Next up, the Pecorino family head asked Nico to squash his beef with Dmitri, the Russian from the beginning, who has been harassing Nico and Roman. This is all so that Nico can oversee a large heroin deal between the Pecorinos and the Russians. Nico gets one more choice: squash the beef and take the deal, or kill Dmitri, getting revenge. Again, I feel like the canon choice is Nico killing Dmitri because it allows for the most impact. Dmitri came at Nico's family, causing so much pain and suffering. I just can't imagine him letting all that go and trusting Dmitri. Before Nico makes his decision, he calls both Roman and Katie to get their opinions. Katie tells him that she can't be with a person who isn't true to their principles. Roman tells Nico to take the deal and think of the money. If Nico takes the deal, Dmitri sends an assassin after Nico, which leads to Roman dying on his wedding day. Afterwards, Nico hunts down Dmitri and kills him. Ironically, the final showdown is on the Platypus, which is the first ship that brought Nico into the country. If Nico chooses revenge, Pecorino is ruined, and he tries to take revenge by trying to have Nico killed on Roman's wedding day. He misses and kills Katie, Nico's girlfriend. Afterwards, Nico hunts down Pecorino and kills him. So this is, in my opinion, the strongest story in the series. No other protagonist has had the same level of tragedy baked into him as Nico has. The whole story, from start to finish, is just phenomenal. One of the biggest things I wanted to talk about was how people say that GTA 4's story is an example of ludonarrative dissonance. I completely disagree. Let's look at some of the things that were most definitely inspirations for Grand Theft Auto 4. Just 1 year before GTA 4 was released, The Sopranos wrapped up with its final episode. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. While I can't find any references explicitly stating they were used for inspiration, a handful of things show that The Sopranos was definitely on the developer's mind when making the game. In The Sopranos, it's not about a man who wants to escape from a life of crime or wants to change for the better. It's about a man who lives a chaotic life, who talks about wanting to change and become a better person. But in reality, he revels in chaos and thrives off the evil atrocities he commits. Over the course of 7 seasons, you see Tony Soprano continue to devolve. You see him lower the bar episode after episode until finally it leads to his death.
Oh!
Why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you this because the overarching story told in The Sopranos is more or less the same story told in GTA 4. Tony's life of chaos led to his downfall. So long as he continued his behavior, Tony was never going to get a happy ending. Just like in a way, Nico was never going to get the resolution he wanted so long as he pursued pointless killing and continued acting like a war criminal. It's for this reason that I actually think the storyline and gameplay are a perfect example of ludonarrative harmony. This is why I think the canon decision is to kill both Darko and Dmitri. I imagine there is no way in hell Nico would leave either one of them alive, especially after all they have done. That goes double for Dmitri, because unlike Darko, Dmitri is in a position to actually harm Nico's family. And well, Nico's almost about as hardcore about family as Vin Diesel. Nico realizes on the day of Roman's wedding that he wants to settle down and exit the crime world.
Like I want to get to know you properly. I've tied up a lot of loose ends in this city recently. I feel like it's time to move on. Start living my life right.
But you're a tough guy with a death wish. A thieving, murdering, drug-dealing idiot. Do you think you can just walk away from all that?
I can try.
But it's unfortunately too late. His life of crime comes calling, and it leads to him losing what he perceived as his chance at a normal life. I think that Rockstar wanted to kill Nico, but didn't have the balls to do it yet. Immediately after this game, Rockstar got real fucking keen on killing off characters in their games. Red Dead Redemption 1, The Lost and the Damned, GTA 5, Red Dead 2. I genuinely think that this was Rockstar's first time flirting with the idea of killing off people on your side of the fence. As you can tell, there is a fairly large number of characters in this game, and they're all absolutely fantastic. From Little Jacob to Phil Bell, it's truly a phenomenal cast. They all did a terrific job, especially Nico. Also, obligatory boo Rockstar for not paying that man more.
That piece of shit.
Normally I'd pick a few characters that I'd like and a few that I hate, and talk about them, but there isn't a single character I truly hated the writing for in this game. Packy brings it in for best NPC, but there are tons of contenders.
There are very few people in Liberty City who met me before the war.
At least you know yourself, man. Fuck, I don't know what I am. An Irishman, an American. I think I'm straight, but when it's late at night, I need another gram. I've thought about doing some fucked up shit, man.
Oh, you make me sick, you fuck.
Most of the characters I hate are some of the best ones. Faustin's performance was another one that I recalled from my childhood. The scene where he shoots Roman is probably one of my favorites in the entire game.
What do you want me to say, huh?
Very funny. Do you think you're so smart?
No! I'm tied up in the basement a long way from home, or some ape threatens me with a hacksaw. So no, I'm not that smart.
Shut the fuck up! My fucking wife is watching television. Good Lord. What are you doing?
Nothing. I mean, I was finding out who he is.
And? Who is he?
He is his cousin.
You were about to cut up some guy in my house, making all that noise to find out he's his cousin. Where did you find this idiot?
He was a friend of your sergeant when we were in Vladivostok.
He's an imbecile. So, Nico Bellic, you think it's okay to kill my employees?
If he is an asshole, yes.
Do it! I agree. Asshole, look at me like I'm a piece of shit.
Боже мой.
Now listen, Nico Bellic. You are very lucky Blood was an idiot. The only reason I keep him around is because I fucked his sister. Look at me. You owe me. I got some dickheads in my neighborhood trying to run a shipment, yeah?
And we found a buyer for the TVs.
Yes, a buyer. But you got to get them for us so we can make the sale.
Can you untie Roman?
Хорошо.
Shut up, Roman. Roman, shut up.
Shut him up!
Shut up, Roman. Roman, shut up! Fuck!
Shut up!
All in all, I fucking love this game. It's tedious and frustrating at times, but I think it's one of my all-time favorites. A lot of that is rose-colored glasses, but the game still does hold up. I enjoyed my romp through Liberty City, and I eagerly await my return to Vice City. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.
He's in the walls.